Now, next up, we gotta talk about this looming Jimmy Butler trade. It looks like Jimmy Buckets might be on his way out of Miami. There has been a constant rumor mill about the potential trade packages and teams that Jimmy Butler would be sent to. And of course, in Jimmy Butler fashion, he has to troll by changing his hair color to each team that he's linked with each new rumor that comes out. But of the teams that he's been linked to in a potential trade, so far it seems like the Golden State Warriors and the Phoenix Suns are the most likely teams to be able to acquire Jimmy Butler in a trade scenario as of now. After this season, Jimmy Butler still has 1 year left on his contract where he would get $52 million in the last year of the contract where he has a player option. Now, the Miami Heat has never been a team that has been extremely successful in the regular season as of late. Since Jimmy Butler has been the focal all-star on the team, they've been more of a team that has a streak in the playoff and goes for deep playoff runs. For example, when they made the NBA Finals during the NBA bubble season, they were the 5th seed, and when they went on the Cinderella stretch in 2023 to face off against the Denver Nuggets and eventually lose in the NBA Finals, they were actually the 8th seed that season. But since that time, things have changed dramatically. Jimmy Butler is now getting older. At the end of this season, Jimmy Butler will be 36 years old, and with him being slated to make $52 million in the last year of his contract, there's no doubt that the Miami Heat definitely want to free up some cap space in order to be able to sign other players. And you also don't want to let a player like Jimmy Butler walk for free. You want to be able to trade him and at least get something for him to be able to rebuild your team. And we all know Pat Riley is relentless with the pursuit of the Miami Heat. He is not going to stop to be able to get a trade, but we also know that Pat Riley is kind of a hard ass. Pat Riley's career has been nothing short of illustrious, and even at 79 years old, this guy is still pursuing talent, trying to make trades, trying to keep the Miami Heat competitive. I mean, you don't appear in 19 NBA Finals and win 9 championships throughout your entire career by just sitting on your laurels. You got to put in the work, and Pat Riley is still doing that. But in all honesty, the Miami Heat may have a tough time with getting what they want for this trade, and there's a couple reasons for that. Number one, in the last couple of years, Jimmy Butler has had some significant injury issues, only playing 60 games in last year's season and missing the entirety of the playoffs, resulting in the Miami Heat getting knocked out pretty early last year. Number two, he is getting older. Jimmy Butler is approaching 35, 36 years old, and you're going to have a tougher time bargaining for a player who wants to be on a competitive win-now championship type team while he's approaching what's considered a veteran age inside of the NBA. And then to top all of that off, Jimmy Butler is looking for another max contract extension. So whether you trade Jimmy Butler with his current salary or you do a trade and sign and potentially send him somewhere else, you're only going to have a few teams that are even able to trade for Jimmy Butler without giving rid of all their great pieces without getting into the luxury tax. And for those who don't know, the NBA luxury tax is essentially just an extra penalty that teams get when they exceed the league's allotted salary cap for that year. Now, the sign-in trade is definitely less likely. Pat Riley already said in the offseason last year that they were not going to extend Jimmy Butler and wanted to see him on the court more. And another report just came out today with other NBA rival executives saying that they believe that Miami will not move Jimmy Butler unless they get, quote, fair value in return for him. Now, the trade deadline is nearing. The official trade deadline is February 6, 2025. So I'm not entirely sure if the Miami Heat are going to be able to move Jimmy Butler by then, but they're for sure going to try. But at the very least, this whole trade situation at least caused some entertainment on Twitter/X. Shams Charania reported on the Phoenix Suns being the most preferred trade destination for Jimmy Butler, which led to Jimmy Butler's agent responding on Twitter/X, and he said the following.
All right, listen, I gave you a pass yesterday because I was busy, but if you don't stop putting my name on your complete and utter made up bullshit because you know you normally aren't worth my time to acknowledge, I don't know what I'm gonna do because I'm a middle-aged dad, but I just know it would indicate severe dislike. World, all this is fabricated. I have never, and honestly, it wouldn't help me or the position I represent to do anything that's been reported by this said journalist. Shams, this is your opportunity to say my bad. I let ChatGPT write my tweets and it went old school Peter Veche.
And then he writes in parentheses, Shams, Peter was my writer in the 90s. To be a trendsetter, I knew I was hacked. Carry on, thank you. Now, when Jimmy Butler's agent says that he's a middle-aged dad, trust me, we can all tell by how you type on Twitter. And then he talks about the ChatGPT reference, like as if ChatGPT can formulate a bunch of different trades that would be happening in real time. Like, what is this guy even talking about? I'm not even really sure why he addressed this at all. I mean, this is pretty regular par for the course stuff. Journalists are always trying to get the newest scoop or getting rumors and hearing talks from behind the scenes, GMs, etc. about different trade talks. Why would he even feel the need to address this, whether it was true or not true? This is just part of the NBA media. Now, it seems like this agent Bernard Lee does have his own management called Threads Management, and he seems to be relatively new to the game. I'm not really sure. He only has a couple NBA players signed right now. His biggest and most notable, of course, is Jimmy Butler. He also has Justin Holiday, Chris Dunn, and Ben Simmons. And I find that pretty interesting because I remember Ben Simmons being let go from Clutch Sports, but I never really followed up to see who he signed with afterwards. So it's pretty interesting to see that he ended up signing with the same agent as Jimmy Butler. Now, I'm gonna give this guy the benefit of the doubt because he is from my hometown, Toronto. So I'm just gonna chalk us up as to this guy not really understanding the game or just being super frustrated and seeing a bunch of rumors. But listen, my guy, for future reference, and obviously he's not gonna hear this, but you don't have to lean into any of this stuff. This is just NBA media. This is how things go. For the large part, you should be ignoring all ESPN or news media, sports media in general, and just be focusing on trying to get your client the biggest and best contract that you possibly can for the end of his career. But I want to know what you guys think about this. Do you think Jimmy Butler is getting traded before the deadline? And which team do you think is most likely to trade for Jimmy Butler? And what do you think they should give up for him in return?